You know, I hope I don't have to remind you that we are all lucky to live in this country. I really do love everything about America. Hot dogs, apple pie, baseball. Maybe not baseball. It's like watching grass grow with people in the way. But I will say, one of my favorite things about America is my constitutional right to make fun of the powerful. Senators, presidents, brands that don't advertise on my show. Sleep lightly, old El Paso taco seasonings. You picked the wrong guy to not give money to. But not everyone out there has that freedom. Take Turkey, where right now a Turkish man faces up to 2 years in prison for allegedly comparing President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to the character Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. Now, just to be clear, Erdogan is not a name from The Lord of the Rings. I know it sounds like Erdogan could be Aragorn's dad, but obviously that's Arathorn. I don't have to explain that to you. Now, the whole thing started when Dr. Bilgin Çiftçi, again, not a Hobbit name, posted these side-by-side comparisons of Erdogan and Gollum on Facebook. Pretty good. They're pretty good. Now, of course, since it was Facebook, that could also be somebody's really ugly baby. Just click like and move on. They won't know. Now, because of this, Dr. Çiftçi was fired from his job at Turkey's Public Health Service and is currently on trial because it is a punishable crime in Turkey to insult the head of state. For instance, in Turkey, legally, I could not say that President Erdogan's mustache looks like his nose is a teepee for a caterpillar. Now, Dr. Çiftçi has offered a fantastic defense, but the judge in this case might not be able to understand it. And I will let CNN's news lady of Lothlorien, Christiane Amanpour, explain.
He is now taking a novel approach to his legal defense. He and his lawyer argue that Gollum is a hero, not a bad guy. The judge admitted that he had only seen parts of the film.
Oh. Come on. Even in Turkish, I have only seen parts of the film is totally code for I have not seen any of the film. So now the court is looking for a Gollum expert to decide this man's fate. Who do we know? Whom do we know who's an expert on all things Lord of the Rings? Folks, when I spent my entire teenage years reading all of Tolkien, not just The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, I'm talking Farmer Giles of Ham, Smith of Wootton Major, Leaf by Niggle. I knew I was preparing myself for something important. Why else would I ignore all my classwork, abandon sports, and achieve a paleness I have yet to shake off? If not to arm myself for a moment of heroism. And now that moment has arrived. A man's life hangs in the balance, and I alone, among all the Edain, am capable of freeing him. Much as Luthien freed Beren from the dungeons of Sauron. Now, I'm so tempted to tell you that story right now, but anyway. Now, you may say, Stephen, why you? Why not director Peter Jackson and screenwriters Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, who made the Lord of the Rings movies? Sure. They've released a joint statement exonerating the defendant, declaring if the images are in fact forming the basis of this Turkish lawsuit, we can state categorically none of them feature the character known as Gollum. All of them are images of the character called Smeagol. I concur. There's an important legal distinction between Gollum and Smeagol. Smeagol is a perfectly normal hobbit until he was corrupted by the One Ring and became the creature known as Gollum. The two operating as split personalities in one body. So yeah, the Turkish court could go with these guys. If you want to trust a man's life to the second best Tolkien experts in the world. And that's not me talking. That's Peter Jackson, who said of me, quote, I have never met a bigger Tolkien geek in my life. And folks, I wear that statement as a badge of honor and as my tramp stamp. You see, when I was in New Zealand filming The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, where I starred in the lead role of Lake Town Spy, I went toe-to-toe in an after-hours Tolkien trivia contest with the film's resident Tolkien expert, and I apparently need to remind everyone I emerged the one true Lord of the Rings expert. And I don't bring that up to brag. I bring it up to serve justice and to brag. Therefore, I hereby volunteer my services to explain to the Turkish court why this man is innocent of a crime that shouldn't be illegal anyway. Now, I can't spare time to actually fly to Turkey for the trial. We have Bruce Willis on Thursday. So, I'm going to save this man's life right here in the courtroom of being on television.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Turkish government, this case should never have come to trial. The man has committed no crime at all. He has merely broken a rigid and time-honored code of our society, comparing the president to a murderous fantasy character. But there is not one iota of evidence that these images show the villain known as Gollum. In fact, what we see is nothing but the yearning, pitiful face of Smeagol, the humble hobbit of the river folk who was corrupted by the One Ring to become Gollum. Now, the government makes the incorrect assumption, the evil assumption that Smeagol and Gollum are one and the same. But even if they were, we cannot allow the government to punish this man. They want to put him away. But the freedom of speech is imperishable as the flame of Anor, that secret fire set amid the void through which the world was sung into being. And again, I do not have to look any of this up. It's from the first chapter of the Silmarillion, my favorite book, even though it's the one that no one reads. Now, I'm confident you gentlemen will, without passion, examine the difference between Smeagol and Gollum, restore this man to his family. In the name of Eru Iluvatar, do your duty. Scout, Jim, we'll be right back.